kill. Now, the other thing we have here, we have the standard opening, which is seeing here starting in Link's house, and we know that one of our swords will be on the uncle in the sewers. And finally, our last mode is Key Sanity. The keys have been shuffled into the general item pool and can be found anywhere in Hyrule, not just in their respective dungeons. So we are going to be hunting around for those keys so that we can just get access to the bosses that we need. Now, also in V30, a nice new feature is the hint tiles, and one of those hints will tell us the location of the Ganon's Tower Big Key, which can tend to be a bit of a trolley item. So now both of our runners starting into the sewer, getting their sword, and we'll have to find out what the items are from here.
Okay, so we've got our both runners going through the castle of Hyrule. So with this being a standard, they will now have to free Zelda and then head back to the sewers. We see they've already got bombs. Gus already got lucky and already has 9, so they won't. Both of them won't have any problem getting the 3 chests at the end of escape. But Gus certainly has a good head start with the Kakariko village with his 9 bombs.
Now both runners grabbing their first small keys for a dungeon, that is for Pod. Pod having one of the higher key requirements of any dungeon, so that's always a nice thing to see. But we actually, since we are in all dungeons mode, it doesn't matter. We're going to have to go through and complete Pod regardless of whether or not it is a pendant.
And already our second key for the Dark Palace. So as soon as they've got enough equipment to go there, the more keys they have, the earlier they can dip already in, because as you said, with this dungeon having the most number of keys, it also has one of a higher number of chests. I think it is 14, meaning that there is a high chance of progression being in Pod.
That's right, and in a non-key sanity mode, we normally, the Pod dip is not as tempting until you have the bow or the bottle, just in case you have a bow-locked Pod. That's due to the fact that Pod, that we often say is the business up front, party in the back with all the keys in the front chests. In this particular mode, those front chests could be holding some great items.
So both players are now making their way back to the beginning of the Hyrule Castle, and will soon head to the sewers. We see 2 different sprites here on screen, none of them being the sprite people playing Vanilla Game are used to. Vivi is playing with Vivi from the Final Fantasy franchise. Meanwhile, Gus is playing as a little Zora.
Is a little bit of a shame that we are playing Key Sanity and neither runner is playing with the big key sprite. That's always a fun one to see. Now, neither runner has the lamp, but since this is a standard opening, they will be granted the lamp just for these rooms back here. So if they had to come back here, which luckily neither one will have to, since they have bombs, they would have to navigate these rooms in the dark.
Indeed, and while both runners are good enough to do these rooms in the dark without a lamp, this seed is basically generated so that anybody could play it, and this is why people get directly the lamp for this section.
So that is a cape in the dark sewer chest. Now, I mean, is it too early to start talking about a forced Aga 1 before Dark World, or is there a...
Well, we would still need the lamp for that, but at the end of the day, oh, what are those? Boots, early boots. This seed is gonna go fast. Yeah, as I was saying, they still need the lamp in order to play Aga early, within logic. At the end of the day, because it's all legend, they will have to do it anyway. But yeah, forced Agahnim called Soul in the Seed would be quite funny. Funny for us, at least.
Yeah, and chat also pointing out, in this mode, those Aga Tower keys are still shuffled somewhere, not necessarily in Aga Tower, so that's just adding to the huge scavenger hunt these guys are going to have to go through.
The only place where these keys can't be is on the Lumberjack ledge, because you would need to beat Aga in order to get there. But yeah, it can be a really big hunt for these keys, especially late in the seed, and it could also even be on pedestal.
So with those boots in hand, it looks like both of our runners are going to go check the Lumberjack item, seeing it is a blue potion. So if we get to the point where they can take out Aga and they haven't found a bottle, well, we know where they're going to be headed, especially with those nice early boots.
Indeed, they could also get bottlenecked into having to do Aga in order to get this bottle if a sick kid has a potion-relevant item. And Lost Woods begins here with a full heart container first. They'll need at the beginning of the seed a lot of heart pieces or containers in order to be on the healthy side of things, but later we can expect to see them avoiding such containers.
So our runners are finding the map of Thieves Town in the Lost Woods. That's another thing about the key sanity mode. It does not just shuffle the keys, but also the maps and compasses as well. And the maps and compasses do have some extra value. Until you get the map for a dungeon, when you check the overworld map, you will not be able to see whether or not that dungeon is a pendant or a crystal. Additionally, the compass will give you the ability to see how many chests you still have remaining in each of the dungeons.
Also worth noting that the music of a dungeon has been randomized, so you can't even use the audio cues from the dungeons in order to know if it's a pendant or dungeon. In this mode, at the end of the day, it doesn't much matter because they will have to do them all anyway. But when you're playing a normal key sanity, you would still be on the lookout for these maps.
That's right. We'll have to see how the seed develops because the position of, for example, the green pendant yielding an additional item for its respective dungeon, or the location of the 5-6 crystals for access to Pyramid Fairy could be a factor in this seed. Even though we're going to have to clear all dungeons, that could shape their priorities as we go through this race.
Indeed. Also worth noting that if the players do not find the maps, they can still talk to specific NPCs in order to get these informations. The Pyramid Bomb vendor can give you the location of both 5 and 6 crystals, and talking with Saraswara will tell you where the green pendant is.
So, chat asking about boots, those were in the back of Escape. So we have had a very fast seed already. Speaking of grabbing some nice quality of life items early on, blue mail in the chicken hut.
Okay, and we already find our second GT key. These keys might not be necessarily needed because they would need one in order to progress through Ganon's tower, and the big key can be found anywhere. But if important items are located far behind the Ganon's tower, they will need to do full clear, and these keys might still come in handy.
Alright, so going back a bit to when I asked if it was too early to speculate about Aga 1, we did just find one of those tower keys.
We only need the lamp now, and then we can really start more than speculating. Also worth noting that while it is key sanity and all the keys have been shuffled, they also can still be in their vanilla locations, meaning that the second Hyrule Castle key could very well be within Hyrule Castle.
That's right, and that would be an outstanding troll. So these southern checks here are really going to determine a lot of how this seed progresses. We are running quickly out of our item-dense locations, and while we have filled out the inventory a little bit, we are still missing a lot of that key progression. No gloves yet, nothing really getting us towards Dark World access.
But we are going now full mobility. We just found a flute. Bit late, just after the dip into Kakariko Village, but I guess our runners will then, as soon as they're done with South Shore, go straight back to the Kakariko Village.
Yeah, unless one of them is planning on doing a fake flipper and maybe checking Hobo. I can't imagine they wouldn't do anything other than immediately going activating that flute.
Indeed, although I'm not sure if they're gonna do fake flippers because they still lack the Moon Pearl to check the Lake Hylia chest. Oh, silvers! And they do not have yet the money for Zora, so they basically can't check anything on top.
The mirror! Full mobility.
And access to Tower of Hera.
But we are still missing that Moon Pearl. The Moon Pearl keeping us from having, Nope, I forgot the Titans Miss exist.
Okay, Vivi is going straight activate his flute, while Gus is gonna first check the cave back at the Lake Hylia. The Ice Rod Cave. Depending on what's inside, it might give him a slight edge. Oh!
Oh! So we got a big key. Don't know how important that's going to be since Thieves Town Big Chest is probably one of the more popular big chests that don't have anything inside of them. Plus, that big chest is going to be hammer-locked, and we don't know what their inventory is going to look like when they get Thieves Town access.
Indeed, and while it will give them access to a few other chests at the back of Thieves Town, they would still need the hammer as well as the small key to Thieves Town in order to fully complete their check.
So, I feel a little lost here. Should you be able to do that without the Moon Pearl?
I didn't know it was possible, but because he used the boots glitch as well, might be something. Yeah, yeah.
That sounds good. I'm gonna go with that.
I'll say if he managed to do it, it's possible.
Yeah, all right. So chat confirming it's because there's a difference between fake flippering and water walking. Thank you guys so much for that intel. I am not a runner of this game. I watch these games and I talk about them sometimes, and that knowledge that you guys are just there for us, you know, thank you so much.
Oh, Thieves Town being the green pendant. As soon as they get Dark World access. Oh, here's Moonpearl. And a small key to T-Rock, one of the 4 small keys that we will need in order to clear this dungeon. Tao, with the big key to Thieves Town, if you get the Dark World access, do you straight up go inside even without the hammer, or would you still wait a bit?
You know, I gotta say, with the big key, because you can get past that first door room, that's 4 free chests, that's a free small key in that pod that you know will give you additional access into Thieves Town. We've already got blue mail here, and if we could somehow get to blind from the stuff we get in Thieves Town, Kana Burna is one of the best low equipment count items for the blind kill. Definitely a tempting option at this point.
Okay, so we've got Gus that just activated his flute. Meanwhile, Vivi is dipping Eastern. He lacks the bow. He also lacks the lamp in order for it to be in logic. But let's see what he'll be able to find. So far, just a heart.
So how about that Master Sword? I mean, we already have the cape, but...
Yeah, most of the time when you've got a Naga seed, I feel that the game will give you both ways to go past the door. They will give you most of the time the Master Sword as well as the cape. Still lacking a lamp, but with no gloves and no hammer, it's still looking more and more like a Naga seed.
Oh, we do have logical access to Death Mountain, and looks like Gus is heading up there. He's going to do a little bit of a sequence break, but with that mirror, we do have a few spots that are open to us, and maybe the lamp's going to be sitting up here.
Possible. Having the flute, they're able to access logically the Death Mountain area, so lamp can possibly be anywhere on Death Mountain except on the old man, because you need the lamp in order to get to him. We also got, meanwhile, a hint in Eastern Palace that was really useful, really useful, which is something sharp is by your uncle. Thank you, game. We didn't know that.
Yeah, seriously, that is a magnificent hint, extremely valuable in this game mode. There's no icon or other part of the overlay on the stream that might give us that information, so extremely valuable tile. Fantastic, really.
Gus getting cabbaged to death on Death Mountain?
Vivi, going back, looks like he's going for the Ice Rod cave, which he did elect to skip earlier.
Yeah, I guess getting the flute so early made him think, hang on, I'm not gonna go on foot up to that part, I'm just gonna go activate my flute and then go there by bird.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think that's a wash time-wise. You're talking about the difference between a couple screen transitions and the waiting for the flute to play. So either way, it works out, and it's a good thing that he didn't forget it, just in case there was an item there. Now, I didn't catch it. Did he check the hint in Spectral Rock, or did he just skip that?
I think it just skipped it.
Oh, that could be a shame.
And Gus finds... Yep, you go on.
Are you sure? I have no problem with you talking about it.
Alright, Gus just found one of our first coins, medallions, which is the Quake medallion. We might need it, we also might not, seeing as the medallions have also been randomized in order to activate access to Mire and to Turtle Rock. But it's always nice to have already one at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how the seed turns out, but I really like those seeds where you end up with all 3 medallions required, with Fire Rod in Ice Palace. Those are fun. Not for the runners, of course.
Oh, and Gus is now going for Spectacle Rock, and I think he's also gonna check the hint if he's there. Early Fire Shield, early Mirror Shield. That's nice.
Gotta say, the hints in this seed, I'm a little less than impressed. A little bit.
I'm also wondering how this hint wasn't green. For your information, chat and viewers, the hints are separated in 2 categories. You have the white text ones, which are hints that basically give you information about the seed, some useful, some less useful. And the green ones are just basically funny text, references to other games, most of the time Zelda games. But an unique item in GT is the kind of hint you do not want to see.
I think really the seed is just burning all of its credit, because we know that one of the hints that has to be in the seed is that GT big key hint. So I think the seed has decided, you're getting that one useful piece of information from us. That's it.
And with the 3 shields being available so early in the game, it puts the laser bridge of Turtle Rock in logic. Well, as soon as they find access to it. But Tao, do you think this might imply early required pod deep and completion? TR, sorry.
I don't know about early TR, because you know, in order to get to TR, we're going to need a hammer, which we have not seen hide nor hair of. We're going to need the Cane of Samaria, another item, haven't seen it anywhere. And with all the things that we're just missing at this point, I mean, it seemed like the seed was very generous very early on, but we have sort of dried out and are just kind of looking around for just random items, get some guidance where the seed wants us to go. I mean, no mint yet. Already having the Moon Pearl, that's it's not a great place to be in. Oh, chat, thank you. Pointing out Kane is on Desert Ledge, so we do just need the mitts or the book for that.
And Vivi is going to check our good friend Agahnim. One of the most remote locations to check normally, but having the flute and the boots make this check a really short one.
Yeah, unfortunately, he will be disappointed. Gus was back here earlier and did not turn up much. I think maybe some rupees or bombs. Or a small key. I have a fantastic memory. So, where do we even still have logical access to in this seed?
The beginning
of did we get a Bonk Rocks check?
We did get the Bonk Rocks check. What is available, and I think where Vivi is heading now, Castle Tower. We do have one key. and that means that we have 2 chests that we can check. Or
Yep.
at least the first one. And it would be quite funny if it were to be the lamp.
Yeah, our chat absolutely exploding with that Aga 1 chest type.
Imagine the first chest being the lamp, second chest being a vanilla key. That's quite great. But both of our runners making the same play, I think they're onto something.
Yeah, I mean they were in lockstep earlier in this seed. The hook. Oh wow! Did not expect to see that.
So this now opens the eastern side of Death Mountain. So, hello runners, we know you like moving left and right, so we are gonna make you move more left and right in order to get maybe one single item.
Yeah, so that's pointing us to East Death Mountain, and wow, could not even begin to predict what could be waiting for us over there. Vivi making a valiant attempt at the dark rooms and going back out, and I think is going to be rushing immediately, take advantage of that hook shot. Double dip required Aga 1 seed. Have you ever heard those words before? Because I personally have not.
Me neither, but imagine just finding on Eastern Death Mountain the lamp, as well as the last key needed for beating Aga, and then having the progression on the sick kid through the bottle from Lumberjack. That would be great.
You know, if I were these runners, I'd almost feel relieved if that was the case, because the worst thing that could happen right now, they go to East Death Mountain, we don't find the lamp. We just get a bunch of fetch quests or other items that open up dungeons, and we are still in a state where we need that lamp logically to proceed.
And chat pointing out that Vivi used his mushroom already and did not reset his console, which means that he won't be able to do the fake powder glitch. And depending on what's behind the magic bat and when we will find the powder, it could be quite costly. What did we just find?
Paradox Cave, Fire Rod, and Flippers. In addition to the big key in Palace of Darkness from the other cave, this Death Mountain play. So now we're looking at, we have a fire source, not the lamp, but something a little different, and we've got a Tower Hierarchy, so I'm thinking that's where we're headed.
Indeed, and also by getting the flippers, this now also makes Zora fully in logic. So with a low rupee count, and if Zora holds progression, we might see some rupee farming from both runners, and it might take them quite some time.
Yeah, our runners are definitely not going to be going to Zora unless I think they find a bounty of rupees or decide to well, they can't hula hand with the flippers. They have to use that other glitch instead.
Did you just catch? Hang on. Did you just catch what was in Spiral Cave?
Was that
the second castle tower key?
Oh. All right, where's that lamp? Seed, we can see where you're headed. Lamp on Zora from chat. Sir, madam, I like the way you think.
Yeah, chat is being evil, but not too evil. I would almost expected chat to wish for a shovel, leading then to the lamp.
And in chat's defense, they might be being evil, but this seed has been living up to all of the horrible predictions so far.
We are basically now having Aga being pointed at from the beginning, but with the extra hassle of finding that lamp first. And maybe if one of our runners doesn't find the lamp and finds it too bothersome, maybe they might attempt dark room Aga clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see how this develops, and maybe that if Gus is going to go take advantage of his oh no, he still can't even do the fake powder.
Meanwhile, Vivi's enjoying a little coffee break in the basement of Hera, and we'll soon find out if Tower of Hera was the key to progression.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your hero of this evening, the elusive lamp.
We just unlocked Aga.
So it looks like Vivi immediately jumping on that Aga play. So this is going to be, what, Aga Tower, Aga 1 down, Pyramid check, probably right over to Pod. All those keys and that Pod big key, gotta be tempting.
Indeed, and let's also see how long will they put up the Lumberjack cave after they're clear of Aga Tower, because this bottle could very well hide something valuable behind.
Oh, that is a great point. I think, ooh. This seed is just so strange in that we've gotten some stuff to unlock things, but between the nature of key sanity and the stuff that we're still missing, it's like those early precursors that you're used to seeing by the 30-40 minute mark in a seed. We are still missing those.
Indeed, although both runners went left and right the whole time, and thank God they got the flute, because otherwise we would still be way behind. The seed was quite linear, actually.
I agree. Very linear, but in an awful way. And not to mention the fact that its linearity was, especially in the beginning, was less about saying, here's an item telling you to go here. It was more about, here's an item that's going to rule out every other possibility. You have to go here now.
And you say awful, but I think chat and I will agree on the word awesome for this seed, at least for viewers.
Yeah, I'm gravitating between the runner perspective and the viewer perspective. Obviously, the more the runners suffer, the more we enjoy, I feel.
Indeed, and the seed just served us with our first useful hint, which was that some bombs were above the pose, meaning that our runners can rule out checking the graveyard ledge.
Yeah, no, that is, and that, again, I feel actually that might be a little bit more on the slightly useless side, because we've got an early mirror here. By the time we're even thinking about Graveyard Ledge, there's probably going to be a reason to be in that area of Dark World, and it wouldn't have been that bad out of the way, you know, it wouldn't be something where much later in the seed you find the mirror and you have dungeons that are open for you to complete.
So, how many blue balls do you expect from this Agahnim, seeing how the seed was kind to our runners?
I'm going to guess at least 4.
Well, there's our first one. Meanwhile, Gus making good use of his fire rod in order to clear the rooms quite fast on his climb to Agahnim.
Yes, very nice strategies by him over there. Oh, only a single blue ball. Odd bit of kindness from the seed.
Well, the seed has to be kind from time to time in order to keep our runners hoping.
Yeah, you know, it's almost like the seed, it's not actively evil, it's passive-aggressive. This is a passive-aggressive seed.
Meanwhile, the Pyramid Ledge only had 100 rupees, but with our runners having so little money at the moment, they're going to take it. Vivi took it, and I expect Gus to do the same. Meanwhile, we see Vivi going inside the water, is basically going to be using his hook shot in order to go to the western area of Dark World.
And it looks like first he was going to do catfish, and then, like me, realized as soon as he thought about it, I still don't have even a single pair of gloves.
Yeah, 36 minutes into this seed, we had to beat Agahnim, which still do not have any gloves or any hammer. Nothing that hints to a better access to Dark World than going through Agah's portal. How long do you think this will go on?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even imagine. Oh, well, Tempered Sword, which, again, it's keeping in with the seed. It's a nice upgrade. It's something we'll want later, but right now, it's not helpful. It's not opening up new locations for us. A seed like this, normally where Aga 1 is required, the seed tends to blow open within a couple minutes of defeating Aga, and we are still waiting for those items to blow this seed open.
So, and Vivi is going to check the bumper ledge, see if there's an item on that, but keep in mind, he can't check this. Oh, it is the bow. So we're gonna really need, these gloves as soon as possible.
This is maximum trolling on this seed, and Vivi doing some very nice routing here. While he's pulling off that check, grabbing his first bottle so he can do Sick Kid as he's working his way through the Village of Outcasts in just a couple minutes.
This seed really isn't kind, but one thing it isn't is trolly, because the seed is clearly pointing out to our runners, hey, hang on, this item, you need it, you see it, now you know what you need to get in order to have it, but not now.
Yeah, it's so hard to describe. It's just this sort of tediousness about this seed.
Oh, and Vivi is going to put up the Village of Outcasts for later. It was gonna first dip inside Skullwoods. With the Fire Rod, is fully capable of completing it. With the Tempered Sword, he also has a good item to kill Morphula quickly, should he not have enough magic to kill it with the Fire Rod. But yeah, we have got now 8-9 hearts. Blue mail, doable, but not the easiest.
Yeah, I think he's in a great place to kill Morphula. With the blue mail, nearly a full line of hearts. I don't think he'll have any problems at all to fight. Definitely will be finishing him off and checking that off the list at the very least. In the meantime, in the dungeon, finding yet another pod small key.
Yes, Pod being the dungeon with the most number of chests. It's, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but almost guaranteed in Kisanity Seed to have a key there.
Yeah, I think if you already have the bow or a bottle, you can do Pod in, I believe, what is it, 3 keys go mode?
You wouldn't need the one for the main entrance, because you could skip this with the bow. You would need, I think, 1 in order to get to Elmazor, and I think that's it. In optimal case, 1 would be possible. Does chat have more information on this?
Looks like they're more talking about the logistics of intra-pod key relationships, which is a pretty neat topic. Oh, Gus, now 300 rupees. Unless you're playing retro, not normally something to write home about, but that 300 rupee drop just pushed him over the Zora limit.
Exactly. Although I would maybe have expected him to collect some more rupees on the side, because he still needs also money in order to participate in the digging game as well as the chess game. With 2 games will cost 110, so it would still need a bit more in order to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I think if he had found those outside of pod, he probably would have grabbed those rupees, but literally finding them in that room, since he's already paid Kiki and made that investment at the very least, and he knows that he has a blue potion waiting for him, probably thinking he can get away without farming. So right. Gus exhausts Palace Darkness as Vivi drops down. Oh, before I could even finish my sentence. Beautiful Mothula kill.
Sorry, what happened? I just blinked. Really a nice fight from Vivi. Moth didn't stand a chance. Vivi didn't even get hit once.
So we know Thieves Town is green pendant, and I believe we could kill blind with our current loadout. So that means there's one pendant outstanding. We're not sure yet where it is. So is it too early to talk about pedestal? Vivi with the gloves, finally a lift upgrade at 42 minutes into this seed.
And with his gloves in hand, he will, before he goes to Village of Outcast, surely head straight for the bumper ledge and get his bow. That will unlock for him would unlock for him the completion of Eastern Palace if he had the big key. But yeah, at least he can now access the bow-locked part of Pod.
Some more great routing decisions here from Vivi. Immediately going to the bumper cave, grabbing that bow so that he does not leave that thing behind and has it for as long as possible.
Exactly. With the silvers also already in hand, most bosses will be really easy for him now, especially Vitreous. That's really a great addition in the arsenal. I'd say so early in the seed, but we're not that early anymore, but we still have a lot of things to do.
Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna guess that Gus will end up in the similar shape to Vivi. Probably will check that bumper cave, grab that bottle, and do a Skull Woods play. And they will both end up very well equipped in this seed, which is actually pretty good because it's going to lead us down this this sort of path of we're just looking at routing decisions and execution. That is what's going to determine this match.
And Gus forgetting once again that he doesn't have the gloves, getting angry at this rock.
And since I literally just did that about 90 seconds ago, I have a huge amount of sympathy for him.
I think this happened to every runner of the rando to at least once try again and again something that just is not possible. And red mail. So we've got tempered, we've got maximum shield, and we've got maximum mail. The seed is being on the healthy side for runners.
This seed is definitely being very cozy, if still a bit tedious.
It's like it's excusing itself for being so annoying for runners.
But again, you know, it's cool to see red mail, but we're still got 2 medallions. We don't know what the medallions are for Meyer and Turtle Rock, but we do know we have to clear them. Still no hammer. We've barely had the power gloves for like 5 minutes.
And Vivi just got the small key to Thieves Town, in Thieves Town. So now he's gonna need, he will wait for this hammer. He will hope to get the hammer in order to being able to fully complete the dungeon.
Yeah, Vivi also finding a 300 drop in Thieves Town as opposed to the 300 drop Gus picked up in Palace of Darkness. So he might also be thinking about that Catfish Zorlage routing as well when he makes his way back there.
So we'll now see if Vivi tries to use the hint. Yes, he'll do this. I just hope for him that he doesn't forget to grab the key.
Ooh.
Shovel in the Lost Woods?
Wait, they checked Lost Woods.
Yeah. Do you know another location that is in the Lost Woods that might need 3 items to unlock?
Could it be the legend?
The ones we heard so many times but almost never still.
Oh,
Chat,
Vivi,
you know it.
The hammer.
We know it. It might be pet time.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, welcome to the 2018 Shovel Knight Randomizer Tournament.
Where you have to first complete 3 specific dungeons in order to acquire your shovel. Maybe. Maybe you won't need it.
Well, Vivi has already gotten his first. Gus literally getting his first just now. Vivi in the dungeon for his second. That's pretty close. Pretty close.
And with the hammer being so mercifully placed within Thieves Town, Vivi will be able to fully check the dungeon. Oh, and gets the Swamp Palace key. So I think we do now have full access to Swamp Palace. We won't be able to check the big chest, but the dungeon is completable.
For the questions in chat regarding the shovel, we have no idea, but this seed has been not trolly, but it has been given us a lot of weird, sort of off-the-beaten-path items, and they've all tended to be necessary for our progression. So having the shovel as a fetch quest item on TED being required is keeping in logic with this seed so far. Unfortunately, we do not know what our third pendant dungeon is yet. We know that Skull Woods, which both runners have completed, is one, and Thieves Town, which Vivi is about to complete, having a great blind fight, will be our green pendant.
Gus having some trouble getting to the back area of the bumper ledge. He's gonna use now his hook shot in order to make it safely there. Meanwhile, we get now a bottle check on the sick kid.
This would be a great time for powdered. Oh. Turtle Rock Big Key. So now, did Gus forget about that bottle at the Lumberjack cave?
Looks that way. Maybe he's putting it out for later. I just hope for him that he keeps this in mind, because yeah, this bottle, we haven't seen any other bottle now, and we don't know where the next ones are. Maybe the next ones are in Ganon's tower, and he's going to need this Turtle Rock big key.
Another big key, Desert Palace. They are just falling down now.
Indeed. Although, at the moment, no means of access to Desert Palace, or runners will still need either a book or another pair of gloves. But nice to have. You know, as soon as you get the required item, you can clear the dungeon straight away.
Speaking of all things Turtle Rock, Vivi finding the ice rod at Cave 45.
But still no way of accessing Turtle Rock. We will need the cane, which is locked behind desert access, and we will need the mids. And possibly another medallion.
Yeah, that is just one big question mark right now until one of our runners does get up to Dark Death Mountain and decides to give us a quick view of that.
So, get ready, chat and viewers, for Hype Cave. Let's see if we're gonna get hyped today or let down. Misery Maya?
What?
Ganon's tower?
Okay.
Whoa, 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 whoa. And a bottle. So great for Gus. As soon as he makes Hype Cave, he won't have to remember the Lumberjack. But yeah, 2 big keys. Oh, and the 1 to GT.
And
how would you rate that?
I'd say that's pretty high. I would give that probably a solid 7, maybe 8 out of 10. Especially if when we get to Misery Mire, we are in go mode. That is God Mire as soon as you walk in the door.
Oh, and Vivi is going to dip straight into Swamp Palace. Fully clearable now. He's got the hook shot, he's got the flippers, he's got the hammer. So also a high density location. We might find some further progression as well. Or maybe you'll have to go to Saraswala.
Yep, and at this point, we have pretty much exhausted our useful hints. So the chance of getting a hint in this seed telling us whether or not we do or don't want to go to that left side of Swamp Palace is probably not going to happen, so you might as well just bite the bullet and do a full clear.
Exactly, and we just got a hint that I think it was some bombs were on the Mimic Cave, or I think another useless item. Good to know for our runners. When dipping T-Rock, they won't need to mirror out into the Mimic Cave. Boy, I still keep thinking about that shovel, and I think it's gonna stay in the back of our runners' minds. What could be possibly there that would be trolley?
I mean, the easy choice now. I mean, we found the ice rod, and the ice rod is you know, the first guess for a pet troll. But we've still got 2 medallions that we are missing, and 0 knowledge about medallion requirements for either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. Plus, we could theoretically end up with a book requirement if we don't find those mitts and we need to go into Desert Palace.
And to add just a little bit to the confusion, I think we do not know as of now what is the 3rd pendant dungeon. So our runners might just go looking left and right to find which dungeon is what.
I mean, that's right. I mean, you're hearing right now Crystal Dungeon music on Vivi's side, but that's randomized. We don't know if that's true or not. Gus is, meanwhile, fighting Blind. Interesting sort of combination here with Red Mail and his sprite. Looks like Blind is being killed by Blind Jr.
On Vivi's side, Vivi not forgetting to get the key before activating the water. If you happen to activate by mistake this switch before getting the key, you will be required to leave the dungeon, get a screen away, and then come back in order for the game to reset. Something I think many runners experienced at least once. I sure did.
Yeah, flooding that key because you have the hook shot, definitely something. I think I've done that on every seed I've run, but I should not be comparing myself even despairingly to these runners. These guys are the cream of the crop. Oh! Vivi!
Well,
Titans
now we have
left side swamp. Oh! And Tower of Hera big key. Look at that.
That just now screams, "Hello, Death Mountain, come back again." Although I think Vivi will first go to the desert area, get his cane, maybe also clear Landmolas. But, I mean, you just got the mids, you've got the Tower of Hera big key. I think you just go straight for there.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting choice that you can make. I think Meyer area is. I'm gonna bet on that one. We already have the mirror, so we've got Meyer Shed, we've got the checkerboard cave, we've got the King of Samaria. That is high density, easy access stuff right there. Plus boots for that torch item.
And we've got also a 33% chance of being able to access Maya.
Yeah, that Maya reveal will definitely have a huge impact on whether or not we are going to be seeing anything, seeing a ped requirement to this seed. And the Butter Sword in Swamp Palace. Oof, and a big key for Swamp in Swamp.
So far, I think each of our dungeons had at least one key, small or big, that was French vanilla.
That is, I believe that is absolutely right. And we can see Gus is making his own Swamp Palace play, so he is just nipping at the heels of Vivi.
Exactly. So far, it's a close race. We are still also looking for some select items that will enable our runners to go further through the seed or to complete it. But being in the same dungeon on a key sanity, it's always a sign of a close race.
Yeah, these guys have been in lockstep at times, other times a little bit of divergence. Even though it might look like Vivi is a bit ahead right now, we've still got plenty of this seed left. This is only the third boss kill that Vivi is about to get. That's a lot of dungeons to run through. We are still nowhere near go mode. We need a lot more intel before we can even get close to go mode.
Whoa, what did you just get?
Oh my goodness! This is the dream!
Now let's see if Vivi is going to heed the calling or if he'll go to other locations first. Did you get that medallion check? Oh, Quake! Apparently, thanks to our tracker, it was Quake.
Oh, there we go.
So Vivi will be able to clear the Desert Palace and also clear immediately the Mire. Misery Mire.
Yeah, I think doing the quick mire is probably going to be his play at this point. Since they have such mobility, already having all of the items you could possibly want for traversing the overworld, if they end up needing another medallion for Turtle Rock, this is going to be one of those places he's going to come back to look. Speaking of Turtle Rock, Vivi grabbing that Cane of Samaria and going into what would we call this? Faux mode?
No idea how we can call that, but we still need quite a few select items. We need big keys, like for Eastern Palace at least. We are gonna need some small keys as well. There's still a lot to gather in this seed. The problem for runners is it can really be everywhere, so go moding Maya is something that is really, really difficult to decide on.
That's a great point, and yeah, you're right. I actually looked at the tracker, I saw all those big keys, and I missed the Eastern Palace out of the side of my eye.
And we find again also another really useful hint in Desert Palace. The swamp big key requires the hookshot. Well, you don't say, game.
Shoutouts to the hint tiles and chats. Let's see some hype for those hints.
So Gus is now making his way to Argus. He shouldn't have any problems either against this boss with all his safeties and with the butter sword. Meanwhile, Vivi is going to take on the land modders and will attempt the silver arrow strat for a 0 cycle.
Now, Gus taking a slight route divergence from Vivi. He got the big key in the back of Swamp Palace, but he has elected to not go back to the big chest. He is going to kill Argus. We'll have to see if he ducks back into Swamp Palace to grab that big chest, or if he just leaves it behind. Meanwhile, Vivi, taking down Lambo with those silver arrows, grabbing himself a crystal for his troubles.
And down goes August. Nice fight from Vivi indeed. And he's gonna go straight for Maya.
not at all surprising with that Meyer big key, Meyer small key, if he even decides he wants to maybe check, probably not the Firelock side, but some of the other items that could pop up in Meyer.
As Chad is pointing out, we are basically a big key for Eastern Palace and a possible medallion away from Go mode. Maybe we'll need only the Eastern Palace big key, but I think we all want the same thing. We want to see a pedestal.
Absolutely, we know it's on the pedestal. We know that it's a fetch quest item, but with the way the seed has gone, to not have a required ped would be just that'd just be sad in this case. Now Vivi is electing to go the long way through Misery Mire, going through this fire cutscene, getting himself another coffee break. In the meantime, some nice route diversions. Gus is doing the Ice Palace play.
Also fully completable. He's got the big key, he's got enough small keys. I think he got them all. Let's see which route pays off.
Vivi grabbing the hint in Misery Mire that the chest, the purple chest in the blacksmith's chain will not yield any useful items for us, just a little bit of love.
Would you mean we got a useful hint from this seed?
You know, it pains me to admit this, but yeah, I think the seed just gave us a useful hint.
This seed is playing the good cop, bad cop on its own. So Gus will attempt now to make the bomb jump. He has to be careful, he only has 4 bombs left.
That looks good. Yeah, there he is, right across.
Perfect first try.
Oh, Gus! Oh, I mean, this one looks good too, but I don't know anymore.
Is this commentator's curse?
I blame the seed.
As if the seed wasn't bad enough, we just add to the bunch.
Apologies to Gus, we'll try not to pile on anymore.
So do you think we should then stop speaking about the shovel?
Oh no, all the shovel talk, please.
Another GT small key, not something that we might need as of now. I think basically Gun's Tower will be just a straight on race to the top, and the sides downstairs won't be checked at all, I think.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be hard to imagine them stopping for anything. I mean, again, the way that this seed played out, it gave us all the quality of life items before it gave us the items that we actually needed to progress through the seed. So there's nothing more that these guys could ask for at this point. Meantime, Vivi locking up his Meyer kill on Vitreous, and is that a 5/6 crystal on Vitreous?
It looked that way, yes.
So that's opening up partial access to Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, and Vivi is now gonna head straight for Death Mountain. Tower of Hera is now fully clearable, and 1/3 chance of accessing Turtle Rock. Let's just see what we will get now.
Shouts to Chest about the crystal colors. That's actually something I personally did not know about these seeds. So if you'd like to do commentary for Link to the Past Randomizer, you don't need to know that much.
Okay, so Gus is now heading for Cold Stare. Has to be careful though. He has 3.5 hearts, and Cold Stare hurts really, really hard.
I think with the gold sword and the magic cape, even if it comes down to emergency, I think he'll be able to get through this just fine. Just needs to keep a cool head about himself. And look at that!
And really, really nice fight from him. Cold Stare didn't have a chance.
Beautiful grouping, destroying the cotton candy balls. At the same time, Vivi taking out Trolldorm, who does not live up to his name because the seed is already taking care of that for him.
Alright, so with this cleared, Vivi is now gonna head up straight for T-Rock. And we will get our answer to the main question. Are we actually in go mode, or do we still need another medallion?
That's right, we've got a 2 out of 3 chance. Come on.
I think the seed has been nice enough, and it's time for it to now be again a bit on the trolley side. Oh, Quake!
Oh no! Oh, with a heavy heart, we are almost in go mode. We are still hunting an Eastern Palace Big Key.
Which could very well be behind the shovel. Don't lose hope, chat. Don't lose hope.
That is... Julian, that is a fantastic idea. That is brilliant.
Also, where are the pod big keys? We really need a few of these big keys.
the extremely useful big key in Skullwoods, which actually could still hold something. We'll have to see.
It could still hold the big key to Eastern Palace, so that's actually good for Vivi and also good for chat, because we now have two checkable locations next to another, which are the Ped and the Skullwoods big chest. I'm not gonna say anything about this hint. I'm done with hints for today.
I think it's best to just let them be remembered and observed in silence.
So far, nothing useful inside Turtle Rock. We still need pod small keys and the Eastern Palace big key. Come on, Ped, I believe in you.
I think that was an additional pod big key Gus just grabbed. Yeah, we are just in a sort of limbo state right now. We've ruled out our medallions. We've ruled out. Actually, we have not ruled out the book, because we do still have tablets in the overworld we could need that book for. We're just waiting to see what kind of keys we get first. Do we find that big key for Eastern Palace, or are we going to get some keys that let us do the other dungeons first and open up even more possibilities, possibly even a double dip? Chat reminding us that that Catfish and Zora play that we were very much into about an hour ago in this seed is still available.
Okay, so when our runners run out of dungeons to clear, they will either have to go on the completely far northeastern side of the map or the northwestern side. This seed just keeps on giving. It's now drip feeding us the enjoyment, but it's still there.
Vivi wisely remembering that Mimic Cave hint. I'm sorry, I forgot that we agreed to not talk about the hints anymore.
Thank you. Okay, so Vivi, progressing through Turtle Rock, will soon arrive to Laser Bridge. We will have 4 items there, 4 chests with potential items. Let's see what we get there. I think Vivi is hoping for an Eastern Pass big key, but I think we all know what chat is hoping for.
Oh yes, beautiful start.
Oh yes. Powder, more fetch quests in your fetch quests.
And some cash, maybe suggesting a nice, long detour to Zora's domain. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Sorry, I'm just at a loss for words at the moment with all these magnificent possibilities the city's showing us. You ever go to Skullwood's big key, you go to the pedestal in order to get a shovel in order to dig something, or the Zora catfish. It's marvelous. Meanwhile, very nice Trinex fight from Vivi, which yeah, it's done. If you blinked, you just missed everything.
That butter sword making Trinex an absolute pleasure, and oh, speaking of things that are an absolute pleasure.
It's for sure a pleasure for all runners, because depending on how many pod keys they used up to now and how many were available, I think we could call them go mode.
Yeah, 121 and about 50-ish seconds. Vivi is probably in go mode. We'll have to confirm that for sure once we get back to pod. Rip the beautiful shovel ped dream. So it looks like Vivi is going to be knocking out Ice Palace, while Gus is clearing Desert Palace, which is some ground that Vivi has already been over. I know that we've been encouraging the seed to be as evil as possible, but these runners, they've been putting on a great show for you guys. Please give them a follow if you are enjoying what you see. This is great entertainment right now. This is fantastic.
Indeed. A forced Aga 1 that has been hinted almost from the start of the seed with a quest for the lamp. The drip feeding of content and progression to our runners with late gloves. Really a nice seed, and so far both runners are putting a really great show.
Yeah, and you know, for all of the regret we might have that we don't get to see that petted pole, we will always have Aga 1 double dip.
Nice bundle for Vivi, so I think we'll see him just straight up go mode this dungeon now and not bother checking anything else. And that was one fast cold stare fight. Great execution from Vivi. Oh, and chat is pointing out, Gus, although he now collected the bottle, hasn't yet checked the sick key. He's still missing the Turtle Rock big key.
Oh, that's a great point. You know, and that's going to come down to that routing, because Gus picked up the empty bottle from our hype cave, but he neglected to go up and grab the blue potion bottle from Lumberjack cave when he was already in the area grabbing his bow. So I guess that begs the question, is Gus going to do overworld checks or do dungeons full clears and eschew a go mode until he finds that big key?
Well, right now we see Gus heading for Catfish, so I guess he's gonna make the Catfish into Zora play. I just hope for him that he remembers the sick kid soon enough, because otherwise it's gonna be quite hard for him. Because right now he needs to go into T-Rock to get the Eastern Palace big key.
Hopefully he's not led too far astray by these checks.
Catfish holding another small key to pod, quite useful, and we'll soon see what our favorite scammer and lesson giver has for us today. At 1 hour 27 minutes.
I mean, has the seed itself not been the greatest scammer and lesson giver at this point? What could it possibly offer us?
Did we already see the 1 rupee?
I think we saw one of them. We could get the artisanal arrow.
Oh, the key to Desert Palace.
And we get a wild goose chase item. So Zora actually still living up to his... Oh man.
Hey Gus, thanks for the 500 rupees. Here's a small key to a place you don't need to check and shouldn't check because it's just wasting time. Thanks, Zora.
If billboards had accurate representations of their products, it's exactly what Zora's would say. So let's see what Helmasaur is offering us. Oh, some more bombs. Fantastic.
Alright, so Vivi is just 1 mirror away from his last dungeon location.
So, Gus not letting himself get led too astray here, moving right again into a dungeon, making some good progress. He does have quite a bit of ground to make up. We would have to see some huge, massive critical errors on Vivi's side for him to not take this race.
Indeed, at this point it is Vivi's race to lose. Vivi has really great execution, and it's gonna be difficult for Gus to come back, but Ganon falls, Ganon hugs have always happened. They've got 15 hearts. Vivi clearly has an advantage right now.
Yeah, 15 hearts, red mail, gold sword. You could fall to Ganon probably dozens of times and not even have to worry about health pools. Just so well equipped for these final fights. So as Gus takes out Moldorm, Vivi, oof, again, blink and you'll miss it, folks. Blink and you will miss it. Vivi taking out Armos Knights with silver arrows, getting his final crystal, and he is headed for Ganon's tower.
So normally on Speed Gaming channel we play a game in regards to the location of the GT big key, but since we found it something like an hour or half an hour ago, no games today, but we're gonna see a straight up march to the top of Ganon's tower from Vivi.
No formal game, but you know, chat, if you want to, and it looks like several of you want to, aside from the people putting in negative integers and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. Go ahead, throw your guesses in chat. Let's see how people are feeling about this seed, especially since the seed has been, as we've seen, linear, but very, very tedious. Julian, where do you think they're going to find a big key in GT?
It's really hard to guess. Frankly, not sure. I think we might have collected it already. Could it be possible?
Wow, my brain just sort of went crazy about the things I've been saying for the last few minutes. First time commentating Key Sanity. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, Key Sanity always lets a mark on you. As a runner, but even also as a viewer, there are things you're really not used to see in the normal game modes.
You know, it's funny because I saw some runners. I was commentating a race the other day, and they were dealing with the mode and making some interesting decisions to deal with the mode parameters. And as a commentator, I wasn't really thinking, "Oh, this is going to happen to me one day."
Yeah, the Key Sanity mode really has several differences. As a runner, you really need to think completely differently, because even things like left side swamp, unless you get a hint, you go inside because you need all the possible items the game has to offer, and any important item could still be inside. So Vivi inside the gauntlet. Meanwhile, we see Gus going inside Turtle Rock. He's gonna be disappointed when he doesn't find the big key inside. I really hope for him that he remembers the sick kid.
Yeah, we want to actually see Gus get progression jammed as soon as possible so he can bail out of this dungeon, make his way back to Kakariko, and get that sick kid key. Meantime, Vivi making quick work of this gauntlet, already going to his Landmo 2 fight, showing us the power of that golden sword.
missing the slurs, but he gets the last one, and that's it for Lanmotu. So, last part of the gauntlet area with the mages, wizards. It's quite funny to see a dark wizard killing other wizards.
Yeah, that is some great sprite choice for these rooms, and yeah, these rooms here. As somebody who was, I think like a lot of us, a kid when I first played this game, seeing that use of Cane of Samari to kill those whiz robes, even after having seen it hundreds of times, still takes my breath away. That is just a beautiful tactic. And Gus has gone to Sick Kid, gotten his Turtle Rock big key, and is now making his way back up to Turtle Rock, probably kicking himself a little bit for having left that check to this point.
Meanwhile, Vivi waiting just a bit for the torches to get put out in order to avoid a nasty glitch that would despawn the tower. Nice insight from him.
Yep, that was a great call, and despawning the tower would have definitely would have been probably distressing for Vivi, but as we can see with Gus still requiring 3 of the crystal dungeons to even enter Ganon's tower, would not have been very costly for him.
And Trolldom doesn't living to his name, or rather getting trolled twice today.
His chests, however. That is a very silly item to find in his chest.
And off we go to trigonometry fight.
Yeah, let's see how Vivi does with his geometry skills. Getting some rough patterns, but still maintaining at least one shot every phase.
Yep, Agahnim somehow getting his revenge for getting killed so early in the seed.
Very nice with, I believe that was a bunch of 1s ending with a 2-shot.
And with all this said and done, Vivi is now gonna fight the big pig.
This will be a very, almost relaxing fight for Vivi compared to the rest of this seed. Gold Sword, Red Mail, both fire sources, just 6 hits per Ganon phase. He's already through phase 2 despite the fact that the bats are still on the screen.
Yeah, having the gold sword and knowing the timing for the slashes, yeah, Vivi is a good runner, but getting all this equipment on top of it, it just makes it almost too easy.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the execution on both of our runners' parts, definitely no concerns with this Ganon fight.
Vivi getting the torch glitch, and is gonna put some more arrows. It's nice double.
And there it is, arrow number 4 in Vivi. So assuming, I'm sorry, in Ganon on Vivi's side. So he just has to make it across the bridge here, and it will be done with this seed.
And Vivi finishes the race with an official SRL time of 1 hour 39 minutes and 51 seconds. Astal just said, put your Jesus in chat. Really nice show.
This seed was just so discouraging at the start, giving you items, but not items you wanted to see. He has made it through, pushed through. That is a great time. GG's in chat, everybody. Let's see some hype for Vivi taking a win on this seed.
Alright, and I see that Vivi has joined us on Discord, I guess, for an interview, so as soon as he comes to us, we'll be able to chat with him a bit about this interesting seed, to say the least.
Definitely looking forward to see his perspective on this while Gus makes his way through the seed, hitting Laser Bridge.
And we're joined by Vivi. GG, Vivi.
GG.
Yeah, real GG. Fantastic race. I mean, for us as viewers, it was amazing to watch. For you as a player, how do you feel about that?
Well, thank you, first of all. Well, the first 30 to 40 minutes of the seed was pretty hectic. Didn't like it too much. With all that thing surrounding Aga, it was hinted on really early that Aga was going to be required. Got the first sword, and the second sword, the cape, one castle key, and we knew it was coming, so I was trying to not go there as long as I could, but turns out you needed to go there first to get the hook shot, come back later to finish it. That was a bit crappy. But after Aga, everything was like pretty straightforward. Everything went perfectly. Everything was on the Y, so that was pretty good, except the Eastern Big Key, which was a little bit out of the way, but everything else was like just a straight line, so that made it pretty easy after that.
Now, we were all talking about and very enamored by the fact that this was an AGA 1 required double dip seed. Is that something that you personally have ever encountered as a player?
Double dip required in the Aga Tower? I don't think I have. I don't think I have, actually. No. It's probably, well, it's probably not common, but it's probably not that uncommon. But it's probably, yeah, I've never had it happen to me before. You always try to not go there when you do all dungeon, mostly, because you know you want to finish with it and then run with it, because it's a free health refill before Ganon and all that. But nope, this time the seed didn't want any of it.
There was also a hint later in the seed telling that the shovel was in the last rules.
Yep.
How did you react to this hint?
Well, in Key Sanity, it's always a bit crappy to have something like the shovel on the, or any fetch quests like the Skullwood's Big Key or the Swamp Big Key, or any fetch quest on the pedestal, because, well, it's something that you just cannot have information about. But since it's an all dungeon, it doesn't matter too much because you're gonna do the pendants anyway. But yeah, that was, maybe laugh a little bit when I saw that the shovel was on the map in the Lost Wood. I was like, no, that can't happen. But it turns out that the first 3 dungeons I did were 3 pendant. So I was like, well, now I can go to the pedestal, but I have like 600 dungeons open, so yeah, let's do the dungeons first.
Yeah, we definitely don't wish any active harm upon you or your fellow racer, Gus, but I won't lie, there was a lot of hype after seeing that hint, and like you said, those 3 pendant dungeons being the first ones done. Master Shovel was definitely our dream for the seed, but it did work out for you regardless.
I wouldn't expect anything less from the Twitch chat. When I'm on the other side of the screen, when I'm on the Twitch chat, I wish for the same things as they were wishing.
And like we say, we're not being sadistic. We just love Randomizer, and we love to see a little bit more of it every single time. So, how did you feel about your place relative to Gus in terms of the seed? Did you feel like you were ahead or behind at all?
When I finally went to Agahnim, I thought I could not be ahead, because I did everything like in a pretty weird order and double dipped many places, and so I didn't feel too good about it then. But as the seed was progressing, I started feeling better and better about my position in the race when things were really falling together every step of the way. So by the time I got the Turtle Rock Big Key, I thought I was at least even, maybe ahead at that point.
Yes, I believe you guys were actually dead synced for quite a bit of this seed. You would sort of rotate places as one of you did Dungeons versus Overworld, but it wasn't until some point in Dark World when you had started to pull ahead. I believe that key decision that you made was when you did Bumper Cave and you grabbed that bow, you immediately went up to the Lumberjack Cave, got the blue potion, went to Sick Kid, and unfortunately Gus found his first bottle in a completely different place in Hype Cave. And it took Gus a turtle rock dip before he went back to Kakariko Village.
What was on Sick Kid again? The TR Big Key, was it?
That was TR Big Key.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, ouch.
Yeah, the progression of a seed at the beginning was really linear with a long way to Aga. There was also a moment, it was after you beat Aga and you first went to the Bumper Ledge, and the bow was there, but no gloves. How did you react when you saw that?
Well, I was pretty happy, knowing where the bow is. Like, by that time, I think I already knew where Somaria was. Yeah, I had already been in the desert area. Like Somaria, and well, in Key Sanity, there's a lot of items like that do not lock much, like the big keys and Ice Rod and bow and Somaria. But these are items you want to know where they are. Already having the cape helped. Just needing to find a glove. Gloves are never really far in a seed because they're required for so much stuff. So I knew I was going to get them. Sometimes pretty early. I was pretty happy when I got them because I was still in the Skullwood area, so I could just go get my bow immediately. But knowing where it is made me pretty happy. I knew I could wait to go into pod unless both gloves are in there, but probability of that is pretty low. So
So with this win now, how are you feeling about your position in the tournament overall?
I'm doing okay in my group. I'm feeling pretty okay. It's always hard to call. It's 15 games to be played. That was my fourth game, I think. So there's a lot of tough opponents and a lot of games to be played. But being 3-1 now. I think I can make it out of the group, but I'll need to keep working on every run and do my best. But I'm pretty happy with where I am right now.
Well, I have to say it was an absolute pleasure watching you run this seed. This fantastic seed. You navigated it beautifully. We've got Gus right now is actually doing his climb towards Ganon's tower. Any other thoughts, Julian?
No. I think I'm pretty happy with the results. It's not every day that you get sub 140 in all dungeon key sanity, but the seed made it possible. So I'm pretty happy with the results, and I would like to, with my last words, thank both the commentators, both of you, and the tracker and Speed Gaming for making this possible. And as always, thanks Twitch chat for being as awesome as they always are.
And thank you, Vivi, for putting such a great show. We wish you best of luck in the rest of your tournament. Bonne chance.
Yeah, thank you. Merci.
Yep, thank you, Vivi. And yeah, just to reiterate what you said, sub 140, less than 100 minutes on a Key Sanity seed, incredible, especially with this particular seed. Fantastic race. I hope you're very proud of your performance tonight.
I'm happy with the results. Yeah, very happy.
Alright, so we have got Gus heading into his gauntlet right now.
Alright, and while Gus is making his climb of the Ganon's Tower, a quick reminder to everyone, if you want more rando action, we've got today at 8:30 PM on Speed Gaming 3 another race between GFE12 and Leslie Pro 04 with the same setup as this race here. We also have at 9:20 PM on Speed Gaming 5 an all dungeons open randomized Randomizer between In the Name of DT and Iron Dobe. For those of you that haven't seen an randomizer yet, I sincerely advise you to check in. Randomizer seeds are, in my opinion, the most entertaining to watch as a viewer.
Yeah, if you thought that this seed here with Key Sanity, those weird item drops, was being a little bit trolly or a little bit mean to our runners, wait until you see an Randomizer seed. You know those Chain Chomps in Turtle Rock, they're limited to one item in the vanilla game? They can be anywhere.
Nice Lanmolas 2 from Gus. We will keep then climbing up. Soon going to Moldon 2. Yeah, Randomizers, as you said, Chomps everywhere. I've seen also a seed from this tournament, the first area of Maya where you need the hookshot or to bonk to block. Instead of enemies or popos, there were only fire bars. It can really fast lead to a death fest on screen.
Yeah, in fact, I think Randomizer is probably one of the main reasons that it's incompatible with the inverted mode, if I'm remembering correctly. The inverted mode being a new option in V30 for people who have not yet had the privilege of seeing a seed like that. An early inverted seed is completely brutal. It is, you start in Dark World, you are dealing with Dark World level damage when you just have green mail and 3 hearts. It is a nightmare seed to navigate until you can get some health and armor and some key weapons to allow you to make your way through the world. And Gus, with a nice 2-shot Moldorm, let's see if he decides to go for this chest or not. He is turning his nose up at the last chest in Ganon's Tower, which, as we know, has a Skullwoods small key in it.
So Gus now facing Agahnim, trigonometry variant, and let's see how he puts up. Agahnim not playing nice right now.
Yeah, we know from Vivi's fight it took him 5 phases to finish off Ganon. I did not get the count on that. Was that 4 or 5?
It was 4 phases on Vivi. I think it was 1, 1, 1, and 3 at the end, or 2, a double or triple.
Alright, so Gus coming in, falling in to fight off the Big Pig. He is armed to the teeth. Everything you could possibly want for this fight. He's got 3.5 hearts right now. He is not even slightly concerned. He is right now slashing that pig, already pulling him into phase 3, even though we still have to go through the fire bats.
Oh, he's got to be careful now. He's got to be careful.
Yeah. Oh, that warp! Oh!
But I think he got a fairy, right?
He does not.
No, he does not.
He has an empty bottle and a bee or green goo, I believe. You know, it's a shame, but with this loadout, dropping in with those 8 hearts, not a big deal. Still got that gold sword, still got that red mail, still gonna push Ganon into phase 3 like it's nothing.
Indeed, it's not a big setback. If you were only on, let's say, Master Sword or didn't have silvers, you might have to step away and go back, buy some potions, but here, still 4 hearts available, and basically, Ganon can't do anything more to him. He's just waiting for teleports, and then putting some arrows in him.
Yeah, we'll have to see where Ganon decides to stop and how many arrows he's going to pump in before he does his torches. Just misses the torch glitch, but again, just a couple seconds of time difference.
Okay, Ganon's not playing nice now, but he's got it. Gus has defeated Ganon.
Yeah, we saw there that little his slight attempt there to switch to the Cane of Burna to dodge that fire bat. Didn't work out for him, but still, that red mail, all the power, and he crosses the bridge to finish the seed.
And Gus finishes the race with an official SRL time of 1:58.56 seconds. GG's, GG to Gus. Come on, chat.
Yeah, let's see those GG's in chat again. Both of our runners having to deal with the same seed, the same twisted early logic. Both of these guys had to go through, and both pulling off great finishes. do we know if Gus will be stepping in for an interview?
No idea. I'm gonna check if I can get him to comment on that. Just give me a second.
So while we're waiting here to see if we're going to have a post-game interview with Gus, just a reminder, please follow both of these runners, Vivi and Gus, giving us a beautiful game, wonderful performance on this key sanity seed.
Also, big shout out to our tracker Reg for keeping us all the time up to speed with which items, which keys were obtained by our runners. Tracking for a normal game is always difficult, but keeping track of all these keys it's really a great feat. Many thanks to Reg for stepping in as a tracker.
Absolutely, especially since there were some minor technical difficulties in the middle of the seed, but he still pulled through it and gave us that key tracking that we needed to get through this seed and see where our runners were.
So I got the message that hang on, but Gus won't be able to step in for an interview. He's got some mic issues, so we're gonna soon wrap it up. Once again, don't forget to check the other speed gaming channels for basically the speed gaming channels, speed gaming channel 2 through 6, as well as the ALTTPR Randomizer 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 that stream quality content, several different races. We've got a link to the past races, of course. There are also tournaments with the games Ori, with Portal, with the Final Fantasy games. So follow these channels. Thanks also for your support. Thanks, Chad, a lot. Don't forget at 8:30, so soon they will be on Speed Gaming 3 the next race, which will be GFE 12 against Leslie Pro 04.
And if you are busy at 8:30, we also have a 9:20 race on Speed Gaming 5. That's going to be In the Name of DT versus Aaron Dobb, and that will also be an Enemizer seed. So if you want to see some Enemizer action, we have got 2 options for you tonight. Thank you again, both of our runners, Vivi, Gus, Reg, doing a fantastic job on tracking, Julian Berlin doing commentary. I have been Tao Decay. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon here in the 2018 Randomizer Tournament.